Ukomon is a new Digimon that was introduced in the Digimon Adventure 02, the beginning movie at the end of 2023. In the movie, he appears before the child Rui, whose childhood upbringing is wrought with abuse, sadness, and loneliness. Ukomon introduces himself as a Digimon who can grant wishes, and from that moment forward, Rui's life takes a 180 turn for the better. Fast forward a couple of years, Rui's parents treat him better, he has lots of friends, but in a horrific twist of fate, he comes to realize that Ukomon has been controlling the corpses of his parents and friends in order to make his life better. An argument ensues between the two of them, and Rui curses Ukomon, and after some more traumatic scenes, he wishes Ukomon would disappear, and like all of his other dreams, Ukomon makes it come true. Sounds compelling, but I give it a 6.5 out of 10. But what does this have to do with the Digimon card game? Well, during the time of the movie, Bandai printed promo cards of Ukomon, and in the following set, BT16's Beginning Observer, they also printed a second Ukomon card, and its recent inclusion in a lot of decks is drawing some pretty scary parallels to the movie. So what do I mean here? Well, like in most TCGs, deck color is really important as it largely determines the kind of support you can add to a deck. For example, if you run a deck that uses all blue cards, you wouldn't use a card that lets you look at the top 4 cards of your deck and add a green card among them to your hand. You simply wouldn't have any targets and it would be a useless card. Digimon is largely the same way, where resource cards are mostly locked behind either specific archetypes or colors, which limits the pool of search or value cards you might have access to. To give you an idea of how Ukomon works and how good he may or may not be, let's quickly explain the concept of the raising or breeding area and the battle area in Digimon. In the game, you have a deck of 50 cards, but you also have an egg deck of 0 to 5 cards, and each turn you can choose to either do nothing, hatch a level 2 Digimon, or send a level 3 or higher Digimon from the raising area or the breeding area to the battle area. The breeding area is special because it virtually is unaffected by anything in the game. Most effects can't affect the breeding area, so you can safely evolve Digimon there. But the Digimon in that slot can also not use any of its own effects, generally. So the safety of not being touchable by your opponent is kept in check by the fact that you can't use effects while you're there, and you can't send Digimon from this slot to the battle area except at the beginning of the turn, before you take any other actions during your main phase or main step. The TLDR here is that the racing area is a safe space, but you can only move Digimon from there at the start of your turn, so it takes at least a turn to get them out usually. Enter Ukomon. Ukomon from the BT16 set is a white level 3 Digimon that has a very rare condition that allows it to evolve from any color level 2 Digimon, albeit for 1 memory. Again, because Ukomon can evolve from any color, no matter what color your deck is running, Ukomon can be applied here. The real kicker here though is that the turn after you evolve into Ukomon, when you send him from the breeding area to the battle area, Ukomon lets you look at the top 3 cards of your deck, grab any color Digimon or Tamer, add it to your hand, and then hatch another egg immediately. And this effect activates not only when Ukomon is moved to the battle area, but in the future when any of your other cards would move from the breeding area to the battle area, so you can stack this effect over multiple turns if he can stay on the field. Again, because Ukomon can evolve from any color Digimon, and the fact that his searchability isn't limited to any specific color either, means that he's just a generically good card. In fact, he's great. It's as if all of the decks that didn't have a good way to search cards in the past, wishes had just been granted. How thematic. Finally, that deck idea that you had in the past that just wasn't working suddenly has viability. And this is when the monkey's paw curls. With such unrestricted searchability, Ukomon is really good in a lot of these lesser played rogue decks. But that also means it's just really good in pretty much every other deck that's also good in its own right as well. Do you run a deck that actually doesn't have many level 3s? Well, pad it out with Ukomon. Do you run a deck where you typically want to search for one Digimon, evolve it in raising, and then send it out to do tons of damage? Ukomon is the answer. It's so good that you can run it in virtually every deck, and that is exactly what is happening. If event results are any indication, the game is being overrun with this little wishmaker, and some people are starting to get worried. Digimon has been around for about 4 years now, and Bandai has a strong track record of not banning or restricting generically good cards. Take for example the Memory Boost cards, or the Training cards, or the easily usable Cool Boy or Analog Youth Tamer cards, many of which were speculated to get restricted in previous banlist update announcements, but none of which ever got touched. These are all very low to the ground cost cards that will inevitably refund their own cost over the course of the game, while providing additional value in terms of searchability. While the BT16 version of Ukomon doesn't refund its own cost, the movie promo version does. It has essentially the same effect, but instead of searching a card when it's moved into the battle area, you gain a memory instead. And its evolve over the level 2 in this case is free. The combination of both these cards single-handedly revived aggro-focused decks in the game that had in recent times been mostly mid-range focused. Truly powerful indeed. Personally, I'm a little torn. I like the fact that Ukomon breathes life into these aggro-focused decks where they feel usable again but not broken. I've always liked new ways to play the game, but I'm not sure if Ukomon should also be so good that he's good in all the other decks as well. So where do you fall on the issue? Do you think that Ukamon's generic usefulness is the perfect answer to everyone's wishes? Or do you think that the monkey's paw has curled and, like Rui, we should wish for him to disappear? I'd especially love to know your opinions if you're coming from other card games to get an outside perspective. Let me know in the comments below. What's going on, Tamers? Just wanted to say hey and thanks for watching before I got out of here. Yeah, I got really inspired after thinking about my Pot of Greed video as well as my Pokemon video, and I want to do something a bit more like single target focused as far as a theme was concerned. So that's what this one is here. If you like this kind of video or this kind of style of video, let me know in the comments below. That gives me an idea of what to make in the future. Actually, a lot of folks have been asking me in previous videos what I thought about Ukamon, and so this is kind of my response to them, but I think it's also worth talking about just because it does feel like a little bit of a growing concern as I look at event results the past couple of weeks. Ukamon is definitely everywhere, and I think there are people now who have like 12 to 16 copies of that guy just because he's good in so many different decks. Anyway, that's enough for me. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna get out of here. Before you get out of here, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.